It's 2 a.m. You're lying awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying a single humiliating comment made by a classmate in 2014. Why is that specific, decade-old insult still living rent-free in your head? Meanwhile, think about yesterday. You received 3 genuine compliments about your work, but you can't recall a single one of them. Why does your brain instantly delete praise but preserve pain? Psychologists call this asymmetry the negativity bias. A single harsh critique activates the same neural pathways as a physical attack, causing your heart rate to spike by 10 beats per minute. But why would our biology prioritize misery over joy? If compliments build confidence, shouldn't we remember them more? The answer lies deep inside our ancestral history, where safety mattered more than self-esteem. Back then, forgetting a pleasant berry meant missing a snack. Forgetting a threat, like a rustle in the bushes, meant death. So, your brain evolved to become a supercomputer designed for paranoia. But how exactly does a modern insult trigger this ancient survival mode? To find out, we have to look inside the amygdala at 2 specific stress hormones that seal the memory forever. Meet the amygdala. This almond-shaped cluster of nuclei sits deep in your temporal lobe, acting as your brain's 24-hour threat detector. The moment someone insults you, this alarm system sounds. Within milliseconds of hearing a harsh criticism, your brain initiates a full-scale emergency response. Your heart rate jumps by 10 beats per minute. Why does a mere word trigger a physical crisis? The amygdala immediately orders your adrenal glands to release adrenaline. This chemical surge dilates your air passages and floods your muscles with glucose. You are suddenly primed to fight or flee a verbal threat. Next comes cortisol, the slow-burning stress hormone. While adrenaline spikes quickly, cortisol lingers in your bloodstream for hours. It keeps your body on high alert, refusing to let you forget the insult. These 2 chemicals target the hippocampus, your brain's memory filing cabinet. Think of the hippocampus as wet cement. Cortisol and adrenaline act like a heavy stamp, pressing the insult deep into the gray matter. This chemical stamping explains why you remember a critique from 5 years ago with high-definition clarity. Your brain literally built a stronger physical pathway, or synapse, to store that specific painful memory. But what happens when you receive a warm compliment? Absolutely nothing. Without adrenaline and cortisol, the praise simply floats past your hippocampus unregistered, like a leaf drifting down a calm river. Neuroscientists call this imbalance the negativity bias. Your brain is chemically wired to prioritize threats over rewards. In fact, it takes 5 positive experiences to balance out just 1 negative interaction. This isn't a personal flaw, it is basic biochemistry. Your conscious mind wants to move on, but your amygdala refuses to delete the file. It keeps replay buttons active long after the speaker has left. Why would our brains develop such a cruel, self-sabotaging system? To find the answer, we have to travel back 200,000 years to a world where forgetting a single threat meant instant death. To understand why pain sticks, we have to rewind the clock 200,000 years. Imagine your ancestor, a Pleistocene hunter-gatherer, stepping out of a cave. Survival wasn't a game, it was a daily calculation. In this wilderness, our ancestors faced 2 types of mistakes. They could assume a threat was real when it wasn't, or assume they were safe when a predator was actually stalking them. Think about it. If you ignored a sweet, ripe berry, you missed a tiny snack. But if you ignored a rustling bush that hid a lurking leopard? That mistake was instantly fatal. The relaxed, optimistic hominids who assumed every rustle was just the wind didn't survive long enough to pass on their genes. The paranoid ones, who feared every shadow, lived. You are the direct descendant of those hypervigilant survivors. Your DNA carries the exact software that prioritized finding threats over recognizing rewards, keeping your ancestors alive in a hostile world. Psychologists call this the negativity bias. Researcher John Cacioppo demonstrated that our brains react more intensely to negative images than to positive ones, showing electrical spikes within milliseconds of exposure. But here is the catch. We no longer live on the savannah dodging predators. Yet, our evolutionary software hasn't received an update, leaving us with Stone Age brains in a digital world. So, what happens when a coworker criticizes your presentation? Your ancient brain doesn't see a minor social snub. It processes that criticism as a direct threat to your survival within the tribe. To your amygdala, an insult is a modern predator. It triggers the exact same panic sequence as a saber-toothed tiger, flooding your system with adrenaline to prepare for a fight. This evolutionary paranoia means one insult can instantly ruin your day. But how much praise does it take to balance the scales? The exact math of recovery is surprisingly brutal. In the 1970s, psychologist John Gottman began studying couples in his love lab. He discovered a precise mathematical ratio that predicted divorce with over 90% accuracy. It all came down to one simple equation. That magic ratio is 5-to-1. For every single negative interaction, your brain requires 5 positive ones just to return to emotional baseline. Why is the tax on our peace so high? Think about your last performance review. You received 4 glowing compliments and 1 minor critique about your time management. Which one did you obsess over during your entire drive home? Neuropsychologist Rick Hansen famously coined the phrase, "Our brains are like Velcro for negative experiences, but Teflon for positive ones." Good news literally slides off the neural pathway before it can stick. This isn't a personal flaw, it's a design feature. A single mistake could mean death to our ancestors, while a pleasant moment was just a bonus. Your brain prioritizes survival over happiness. To balance a single insult, you cannot just say thank you once. You need 5 distinct moments of genuine connection, like a warm cup of coffee, a laugh, and a sincere compliment. What happens to your body during this deficit? A single harsh word triggers a spike in cortisol that lingers in your bloodstream for hours, keeping your nervous system on high alert. Meanwhile, a compliment triggers a brief spark of dopamine that evaporates in seconds. The chemical playing field is completely uneven. We are playing a game that is rigged against our peace of mind. Because of this imbalance, a neutral day actually feels slightly negative. If you do not actively cultivate positive moments, your brain naturally defaults to a state of mild, anxious scanning for threats. But you do not have to remain a victim of this ancient evolutionary programming. What if you could rewire your brain using a simple 20-second daily habit to finally make the compliments stick? Neuroscientist Dr. Rick Hansen discovered that positive experiences are like Teflon, they slip right off. To force a compliment into your long-term memory, you must consciously focus on it for 20 full seconds. Why 20 seconds? That is the exact window your brain needs to transfer temporary electrical signals in the prefrontal cortex into physical, permanent neural pathways. You are literally rebuilding your gray matter. The next time a coworker praises your presentation, do not deflect it with a joke. Sit with that warm feeling. Let it trigger your reward system instead of instantly dismissing the win. By holding that thought, you flood your synapse clefts with dopamine and oxytocin. This chemical cocktail actively dilutes the lingering cortisol left behind by yesterday's harsh criticisms or stressful interactions. So, the choice is yours. Will you let your ancient, paranoid biology dictate your mood every single day? Or will you start hacking your own neural pathways, 20 seconds at a time? Tomorrow morning, someone will offer you a genuine compliment. Will you let your brain discard it like trash, or are you brave enough to sit in the discomfort of your own success? Your brain was built for survival, not happiness, which means you're essentially running prehistoric software on modern hardware. But recognizing this evolutionary glitch is your ultimate cheat code. The next time a decade-old insult keeps you awake at night, ask yourself, is that memory actually keeping you safe, Or are you just letting a dead caveman run your mind?